Hello everybody and welcome to Wesley's Plant World with me, Wesley Peterson, and today I'm out in the area of my garden called the Courtyard Garden because I am so happy. I have had this idea that I want to create a lovely bush along here, a hedging here and over on this side to give us a feeling of protection in our courtyard garden area, and also to separate the courtyard garden from the botanical garden area that is behind around me here. So yesterday I went to a garden centre and I was so pleased. I found some bushes that are absolutely perfect for this and I got them on a 50% sale. And well, they were the only large cypress bushes that were on 50% sale at that point. So I couldn't have been more happy because they're perfect for this position. I decided to extend this border that I have here with more rocks in front, and I've been filling up with soil inside. So I started with piling in twigs and leaves and all sorts, and then I went out and bought some soil and filled up even more, and I will need some more soil with time. But this is absolutely perfect for right now and for me to be able to plant in these bushes that I'm going to be planting today straight away. So I just want to plot in some photos of me extending this border so you can see what happened, and then from now until the end of the video, what it's going to look like. So I hope you like seeing how I started off extending the border here. And here I had a little pathway going through into another part of the botanical garden over there. And I decided to extend that because the little pathway is never used. So I had rocks on the ground. I just lifted the rocks, put them on the edge and carried on the border on both sides, went out and bought some soil and filled that up. So that border is also ready for me to plant in one of these bushes. So I'm really pleased that I can extend with the same plants around here. And the idea of having the same bushes is that it will give the eyes something that looks the same going on around here in between everything else, so that the eye can rest a little bit and it is relaxing to look at. So basically my borders are ready and I've got my plants, so I need to bring them in so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Can't wait. So here I come with two of this plant, just to let you see what they are closer up and how magnificent they are. Look at these beautiful blue bushes. These are Chamaecyparis lawsoniana Columnaris Glauca, meaning that they have a lovely, rich blue colour. And that means they're going to match with the plants that I already have growing out there that are Chamaecyparis lawsoniana Columnaris. So a slightly different variety, but that doesn't matter. These plants that I've got now here are around 2 meters tall already, and that was the perfect height I wanted for this area. And that means they're going to catch up with the other evergreen blue colored bushes that I already have going on, so that I get this hedge effect very quickly. So they will take a couple of years to bush out, but these are plants that can get to around 10 meters tall with time and probably 3-4 meters wide. But I am going to be keeping them at the same height as the other bushes I have, and I can't remember how tall they are. I did do a video about those, actually pruning the top of them, so you can go back and see that. They're a couple of meters tall or so. So these match with those. Now, at the bottom you can see they've browned out a little bit, but that is nothing to worry about on these plants. Those needles, you can call them, you can just wipe them off like this, brush them off, and they will disappear. That has happened on these plants because they were tightly packed together in the plant school, and this part of the plants couldn't get any sunlight. And without sunlight, they will brown off. They will probably also a little bit too dry there in these small pots that they're in. So those bits have dried off because those needles being fed moisture and nutrients all the time is a waste of energy for the plant. So the plant saves on energy by getting rid of what it doesn't need. And at the bottom here, it doesn't matter for me that they have bared out and their lovely stems and trunks will be showing, because I will have other deciduous plants growing in front and behind these bushes. I want them in the middle of the border, and then a wild effect of plants growing around them, just like I have with the other ones. So this is going to be absolutely perfect, and this is no problem for me. But it's also the reason they were put down to 50%, because they had these bushes as well at 100% green. And well, I love a bargain. I know a good plant when I see it, and the rest of these plants are fantastic. So these plants originally cost 460 krona a pot, and I got them for 230 krona a pot. Now that is absolutely nothing for a plant that's already 2 meters tall. So I am so ecstatically pleased about this, and I can't wait to get them in the ground. But before I do that, I do need to remove some of the plants that I have growing in the border, and then I can just get these in. So I want to get on with this, but a little bit more information first. These plants can actually be planted in any kind of soil. The one thing that is very important about them is they don't like to be standing in boggy, wet soil, or soil that stays too wet for too long, because the roots will rot out. The lucky thing about my border I've created here, it's above ground level. So when I plant these plants in and I put more soil around later and I put more leaves around, they will be above ground level so that I know that they will be able to drain out all the time. So they need to be kept a little bit moist in the beginning, but the roots are not to be saturated with soil. They will just rot off. So this is a perfect situation for these plants. They're also plants that cope with bright direct sunlight, half shady conditions to shady conditions. And here where I have them, they have the southern exposure, so they will be getting a lot of direct sunshine during the day. And well, then I expect them to want to carry on bushing out and growing like a hedge, like I want. And I'm already going to probably from next year, or maybe the year after, start pruning off the top like I do with the other ones when they've caught up to the same height if they aren't already. So I really am pleased about this. So let me now get these into the ground so you can see the new effect of my beautiful new cypress bushes. Whew, they are a little bit heavy, but right now I have all 6 of my plants that I bought. Now I need to excavate the bushes out that are in the way of where I need to plant them. So here I have a spirea bush that I want to take out on purpose. So that has to come up first. I am going to be splitting up this spirea and putting into another area of my garden. So that is absolutely fine. It's great, it's going to give me a lot more plants. So I'm happy about that. First of all, got to get it out of the ground. Oh, so I've got the spirea out. Oh. And the good thing about these plants is you can split them up, chop them up, and put the pieces in the ground, and they will grow out. They are so robust. But this video is not about spirea today. So I have my spirea out of the ground. And another thing is I want to carry on the same effect with my wild plants that I have growing around my cypress bush here. So I'm going to have to just dig these up and place them in front here so that I have them in front of my new bushes. So I'll do that too. I'll just make a trench. This is going to go quick and easy because I don't want to spend too much time on these. It's already the 30th of August 2025, and I don't know, it just seems like autumn comes early today. I mean, look at today, it's a grey day, and my birch trees are already starting to get lots of yellow leaves and so forth. So this is another reason why I need and want a lot more evergreen plants in my garden. So I've dug a trench, and I will dig up my plants and I will just move them quick and easily. Lots and lots of different things because I want it to look wild. So I'm going to dig them, put them in so they come up and look wild next year. I have lots of things. Irises, as you can see here. Put those in the front, give a layer of those. And then I have my bistorta here as well that I want to be behind because they're beautiful. At the end of the day, when I'm done with this, it's going to look like this border was always like this. It's a bit difficult to see because I have a lot of things here that are falling over in my way. But I really am not bothered about how this looks for now. We just have to survive, how they get placed in, and they can reorganise themselves again next season. Here we go. More wild plants. Well, they're not wild plants, they're plants that I've planted. But I mean wildly placed by me. This is so much fun. So now I've moved all of my wild looking plants to the front. At the back I have ferns, which is fine because I want the ferns to be on the back side where they're going to be on the shady side. So now just put some soil back around all of these things so they're happy. And then just try and get them to stand up a little bit just to look better for now. So, right, plants in place. Time to place out some of my bushes. Now I have 6 and I'm going to put 5 here and 1 over there. So 5 have to fit here. So let's put the first one in. And the border's very wide, so I'm going to have plenty of space to plant around them. And you can see from my beautiful big plants here that there was no problem planting out a wild looking border in front of those there. So the lucky thing about these plants is that they are already in pots, which means their roots aren't going to be as disturbed as if they were root balls, where they get their roots kind of hacked over when they're brought up out of the ground. That makes it a little bit harder for them to establish themselves, and you need to be careful with the watering. But when their roots are okay and not disturbed, they should be able to cope with the transplantation quite easily. And it's very moist at the moment, as I said. So this should go pretty well. Ideally, I would measure them out to see how much space they need between them, but I want to get this done quickly. So I've already pulled this plant out of its pot, and I have a piece of plastic up here that I want to get off. I can take that off later. Okay, the first one seems like this way is okay, and straight in it goes. There we go, my first one. So actually they have a little bit of catching up to do, so I don't have to worry about pruning the first year or two. Just need to make sure they're straight, like that. And that looks pretty good. So the distance between them will probably be around 50 centimeters. But if you want to get a nice tight hedge, you'll probably plant around 2 to 3 plants per meter. I don't mind them having a little bit of space between them. You can see how big the alumni has grown out, so they will merge together with time, which is perfect. So a little bit of space between them is fine here. My next hole. And there we have it. I can't believe how quick and simply this has come along. So I have 5 of this beautiful cypress bush now planted out so that I'll get a lovely thick blue hedge with thyme here, now separating my botanical garden that I'm standing in here behind and the courtyard garden in front, and giving us a nice peaceful rest for the eyes as we sit in there. And it also will create the effect of you having to go around behind the bush to see what's going on in the botanical garden instead of being able to see everything in one go. This gives the element of surprise and excitement, and it gets you wandering around. So I'm really, really pleased about the outcome of this. And well, these bushes are absolutely fantastic. As I said, they are really around the 2 meter tall already, and they have around probably 50, 60 centimeters, and then they'll be at the same height as my other cypress bush there, and I'm going to have a lovely hedge in no time. These will grow quite quickly. I mean, they grow anything between 30 and 50 centimeters per year, and maybe more when they've got themselves established. So this was just perfect. Now I just have the last one to plant over in the other border, and then I'll be ready to take you in for a closer look so you can see what my border looks like and the amount of space I have to plant perennial plants around them. So just like that, I'm all finished. My 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 extra bushes in place, looking fabulous, and I can't wait for them to grow out. And you don't need to worry about them not looking so straight or anything in the middle here. They are going to quickly merge together as a hedge, and they will right themselves out, their tops will start sticking up, and they are just going to look beautiful. I've got the effect I was looking for straight away. I'm so happy with this. And it took hardly any time, and the fact that I could move all of my plants in the front to keep this wild effect going on for next season now when that comes up again and looks beautiful. And as I said, already now, you cannot see the browned out leaves at the bottom. I will go in and rub those off and clear out the stems of the plants to make sure there is enough airflow around them to keep them happy. And then the rest is just perfect on top. So this couldn't have gone better. The only thing I need to do now is give them a good thorough watering in, seeing as they've been moved around and pulled out of their pots and so forth. And that is important just in the beginning to make sure the roots have a good amount of time to be able to establish themselves and grow out into the new soil. As I said, it's the end of the summer season coming up here. This is a perfect time for me here in Sweden to plant out plants like this when the air is moist and there's going to be rain and it stays moist most of the time, so the needles won't dry out on the rest of the plants and they will feel secure. If you put them straight into a ground like this and it's bone dry, the roots will not be able to establish and they will just brown out and they will be gone before you know it. So I'm really happy that the weather is like it is now and not burning bright sun. This is just perfect for this type of job. So now all my bushes are in. It's very important to get them watered in thoroughly. They have been in pots where they were half dry and they've been crammed together, and now they need to have a good chance to establish themselves. So I will water them in thoroughly so that their roots get a chance to grow out into the new soil. Even though these plants don't like to be standing in water, they will need that in the beginning and they need to be kept moist. So I'm glad it's a very moist day. I know it's going to rain the next couple of days, so this is perfect to keep them happy so that they don't dry out. If they were put straight into dry soil here now, they would just carry on producing more and more browning leaves all the way up until the plants eventually die if they don't get any water at all, or they're brown out. And where they brown out their needles, they will not grow new needles. So the bottom parts of these plants will be bare, which is absolutely fine. As I said, I have my border, I have my high growing perennial plants here, and they're just going to look beautiful as a backdrop behind those in the border. So for me, it's absolutely no problem. That's why it was a good bargain. But if I want to keep this top part going now, I need to keep them moist and watered. They're raised up in their border, so the water will sink through, but the soil will be moist and not saturated, and they won't be sitting in any water. I think these are going to do absolutely fantastically for me, and they're going to grow much quicker than I realise. So yes, let me get on with the watering now. So just before I carry on, I do have a blue theme going on here now because the higher tree behind, it's a blue spruce. And I have got to top that out because it has got very tall and now it's at a height where I definitely don't want it to grow anymore because otherwise it will start blocking out the light onto our terrace there. So I need to figure out how much of the top I want to prune off. But that is definitely not going to be allowed to grow anymore. But that is blue, and then I have all these blue plants in front. And then I have this green Picea abies here. And there'll be lots of green plants in front, evergreen and so forth as well. So together it's a fine combination. Yeah, and I just love the blue colours, so for me it's wonderful. I'm literally going to soak the needles and everything on the plants so I know that they're thoroughly moist. So I will go in and give these plants more water while I'm here so that I know that they will do well in their settling in phase. But for now, I just want to take you in for a closer look so you can see how they're planted. I have some more soil that I do want to put in around my perennial plants I've just moved here and so forth. And then when the autumn comes, I will be piling up autumn leaves around the top of the soil, around them. They can take any kind of soil, but they do love an acidic kind of soil. So that will be absolutely fantastic for them, and it will keep them insulated for the winter, to keep the frost away from the soil, so that they will still be able to take up moisture during the colder months, because that is when they will start browning out if they're struggling, especially towards the late winter, early springtime, where you get frost but a lot of bright sun. The plants do try to take up more moisture, and if they can't, they will brown out. But I'm sure these are going to be fabulous and fantastic here with a lovely layer of mulch. So let's go in for that closer look. So let's go in a little closer. They look wonderful here, don't they? And look down into the border here. They have plenty of space to grow out behind the perennial plants. And you can hardly see any of the yellow needles that I brushed off and left on the ground because they become a part of the soil and give some acidity and nutrients to the plants. So you don't need to remove them when you brush them off. But they're looking fabulous there. And then the one that I have in the other border over here is going to fill out this space beautifully too. And I can show you this one from the back side, where I have more borders that I still need to fill out with other green plants, like this one I did a video on. I filled with some soil, ready to plant out into. But here you can see where my new cypress has been planted. And will fill out wonderfully here. So we'll go into the botanical garden here and look at my new border from the back side. And you can see how close they are to our crystal cottage and our terrace here. So this is the back side of the border. And look how we will have coverage now down into the courtyard garden. So you will really have to come around the corner into the botanical garden to see this area. And you will have to go around this border and through the little alleyway into the courtyard garden to see that area. So this is absolutely perfect. There they are in front of our annex. And if we look all the way down, you can hardly see where they were yellow. All the yellow needles are on the ground, becoming part of the soil. And I have a huge expanse here to plant in, and that is so exciting too. So look at this from behind. Now we will have perfect coverage and a separation and a calm feeling as we come around this corner into the botanical garden, into the heart of the botanical garden area. And then around, oh, before we go, just look at all the apples on the trees. Absolutely fantastic. And then down through this alleyway here that takes us into the courtyard garden. And you can see my new bushes here as well as we walk past. And the one on the right hand side here, looking amazing. Our annex, and here our crystal cottage with the new hedging on the left hand side out to the botanical garden. Just amazing. I'm so pleased with this project today. It's really, really beautiful, I think. So I really hope you enjoyed seeing the transformation of my garden area here. Me standing in the courtyard garden, and then the barrier I have created with this lovely blue hedging into my botanical garden with these Chamaecyparis lawsoniana Columnaris Glauca. And well, we'll have to come back in the future to see how they grow and merge together. So all I have to say now is thank you very much once again for watching this video. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be coming up, and I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.